All right, what is up, guys? This is day 3. Gonna start the old car that I still have yet to tell you guys what it is. The battery's been kind of weird. We're good. I'll open up the valves for you guys. Oh, sounds pretty good. Not bad. All right, so day 3, like I said, little training vlog here. I'll hold the mic while I get going. Hopefully there's like a O2 sensor or carbon monoxide sensor back behind my exhaust, and oh, yep, there it goes. And just like clockwork. So that goes off whenever you stay in that little spot too long. So that's why I never like sit and let it idle for you guys, because obviously I don't want that to go off every day. I gotta fix this mic, hold on. Put it over here so the seatbelt doesn't get in the way. Hopefully that sounds okay. So yeah, let's see if I change the ISO here so you guys can see me. There we go. Oh, I was gonna film in 4K, but it's too late now. Yeah, so we're at day 3. I have been pretty consistent uploading these for you guys. Try to put them up so that you guys can see them before, was that like dinner time or something like that? You know, just so you guys have something to watch. I personally like editing them a lot. I think they're fun to edit. I think that they are obviously like pretty educational. Hopefully, you know, I was talking to DillIan a second ago, and he was like, you know, if you can keep posting and it's stays educational, I would go with it. Just don't make it feel forced. So hopefully it's not for you guys forced. You know, like I said, I try to make it natural as I go to the gym. And today I wasn't sure what I was gonna do for this because it is a general day, and general days they're still really important. Don't get me wrong, I was saying this yesterday, but they're not like, I don't want to say not bread and butter, but in a sense they're not. So like you could get away with not doing general days and still being like a pretty good athlete, because you'll have specificity and individuality and progressive overload in different ways. And now I can turn this ISO way down. I'm gonna just put it on auto that way. There we go. You know, you can do it different ways, but I have been, oh, now that's really blown out. What the heck, bro? That looks like absolute dog doo-doo. Here, we'll put it right there. So you can do it different ways, general days, right? You could have upper in there, you could do core work, you could do tempo. Like there's so many different ways to do it, and it also really depends on like the type of athlete that you are. Because if you're a 1-foot jumper, for example, right? You know, your general days are gonna look a lot different than someone who's a 2-foot jumper, because there's different qualities that you need to address as a 1-foot jumper versus a 2-foot jumper. And maybe that is like a little bit obvious to some of you guys. Maybe to some of you it's not. But for example, I would go do, you know, something like, I'm trying to think of like a good example. I might go to the track and run some 200s or some 150s or some 100s. And that would be productive for me as a 1-foot jumper. But as a 2-foot jumper, that's gonna be, let's get less light in here. Hopefully you guys saw the chromatic thing. This lighting is gonna be tough today. I'll turn this up for you guys. There we go, that looks a little better. So yeah, as a 2-foot jumper, that's not gonna be really like productive. You know, you're not gonna really see, there's not really much there in the way of training where that's gonna offer you adaptation that's gonna help you jump off 2 feet. Like I said, for 1 foot, a lot different. You get the tendon adaptation, you get some of the, you know, the metabolic adaptation to the muscle. You might end up not recruiting more fibers, but you might have some of the enzymes that if you're someone like me, where you're like a type 2A athlete, where maybe you see those fibers hypertrophy a little bit, which when you're really warm, especially if you look at someone like me, I jump a lot higher when I have those kind of adaptations later on. Maybe not initially, but later on. So if I'm 6 months out from when I want to jump high, if I do a lot of tempo, it tends to be productive for me. Even if I'm 2 months out, I might do that, and it ends up being like productive for me. So that said, I think, this shut off. I have auto shut off and on. That said, I think that it's something where you have to be creative with how you program it. And for a lot of you guys, sometimes I'll just put in like choice upper and stuff like that, but it's because general days are, I don't want to say so complex, but they're like so variable. They matter, but the way in which they matter for each person is very different. So it depends on like Cammy Colville, for example, right? Like this kid, he's a sprinter, 100-meter dash runner. I don't want to load him, like crazy in season, so those general days get more general. But in the off season, he's doing super high amounts of plyo volumes. I don't really care if he has like knee pain or Achilles pain, because I'm gonna deal with that when we're like in season. Not that I'm trying to have that happen, but I'm not worried about it. So I can push a little harder in those areas than I would do for, an athlete that's like a high school athlete that wants to recreationally play basketball, right, occasionally. Because the athlete that wants to play basketball occasionally, I can't control for those contacts. Cammy, I can control for every single contact that he does. He's not going to do anything that's not written on the program. So for someone like him, it's a lot easier for me to, kind of dial things in and make sure that everything's like perfect. And so, yeah, today, I guess I don't know if I'm really getting distracted. I don't know if that was helpful. Hopefully it was. But today, I'm going to go to 24-hour. And I think what I'll probably do is maybe a hip multi-jump, like a hip circuit, maybe do like 10 to 20, probably 10-ish reps each for some sort of dumbbell circuit and lower body circuit, and just be creative with it. The reason why I like to do that stuff too, for me personally, is body composition. I think that, especially the quasi-isometric circuit is like one of my favorite circuits. A lot of people hate it, but when I'm this far out from a jump session, because it is very intense, it's an intense circuit, I don't mind hitting that volume, to be honest. I think sometimes it can actually be conducive to like positive adaptation. So like closer to a jump session, I'm not going to want to do a reverse plank single leg, like 20, 30 reps of it, right? But if I'm this far out from a jump session, right, if I'm going to jump on Saturday, I'm okay pushing a little harder earlier in the week, because I know that I'm going to not kill it, tomorrow or the following day leading into when I'm supposed to jump. So yeah, I'm going to go. I'm probably going to do quasi-iso. I probably am going to do 10 reps of maybe like a dumbbell circuit or something like that, or maybe 20 reps, I don't know, 2x10 of something. I like to split it up into upper and lower. I think it's like very simplistic. Old track coaches used to mix it up a lot. Like I know Bouchek's Nader, his circuits, and Dan Paff, his like dumbbell and barbell circuits. Every coach kind of does it differently in track, but they're very diverse, and it's almost impossible to garner any specific goal that they're trying to achieve with those circuits, because they're so almost random. I don't want to say CrossFit, but it's like kind of a vibe of CrossFit where it's just randomness. And you can control the volumes, don't get me wrong. Like you could do it for time, you could do it for reps, you could do it, faster or slower or lighter weight or heavier weight. And that allows you to manipulate the adaptation that you're going to see, and then obviously manipulate when you're going to peak, or especially when you pull that stuff out, the type of performance changes that you see. But it is really complex, and it's kind of hard to explain. I would say like the general days are some of the stuff where, I got to slow down, I'm in school zone. The general days are those type of things that it's harder for athletes to understand the benefit of them, especially when you see guys like Isaiah, who is just like a freak of freaks, who can do, basically anything. He's the type of guy where on an off day he can do upper, and it's really not going to make a difference. Whereas someone like me, if I'm productive with those days, in the long run, I'm talking 6 months out, it makes a huge, huge difference for me. And you can look at like, if you go back on my YouTube and you watch the East Bay series, and you look at when I really started to improve on my jumping, which was like fall 2022, around that time. That's when I East Bayed on 9.8.5. You know, that's when I had my highest jump session at CMU with Ryan Nagel. You look at that period of time, way prior to that, I was sucking for 2 months. And I talk about this all the time. This is a great anecdote. And it's easy to look at the like previous 2 months and be like, oh, well, it was that training that led you to jump that high. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think it was the 3 to 4 months of sprinting 3 days a week, tempo runs 2 days a week, heavy lifting 3 days a week, general work that was super, super dialed in and specific. Like all of that stuff, you know, was the stuff that actually was the driver for performance improvements. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do quasi ISO. This circuit fucking sucks. Everyone that does it hates it with a passion and undying hate, but it's one of the harder circuits on the training. I give it, like very frequently, I give it to athletes. So basically, it's quasi-isometric because you're holding an isometric condition, and then you lost it? Oh, that sucks. Sorry, I've been waiting for the calf raise machine for forever and you lost it. But it's isometric and you're oscillating a limb. So by doing that, you're creating an action and reaction force that you then have to stabilize against with the support leg. So I will probably I'll just do 20 reps of each one. Sometimes I program it for time, but I think 20 reps is fine. Clean reps. But it basically alternates between elbow and hands. Some track programs call it pedestal, which is just a different name for the same thing. So we'll give it a rip. I almost got hit by the barbell. 20 reps, Sawyer. This will be easy. This is light work. I will. I won't stop. Sawyer is challenging me. He doesn't understand. I've been doing this lift since I was 16. What is this, 18, 19, 20? Oh boy. I even lifted hip flexor yesterday. I did hip flexor lifts. The hamstring one's the hardest one, I think. Yeah. On the elbows, easily. 12, 13, I might have miscounted. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So the hardest part of this, if you guys try it or you've done it, is on the oscillation. So especially if you don't touch the ground. If you touch the ground, it unloads it. But that change of direction is brutal. 9, 10, 16, 17, 20. Whew. Without rest? That's crazy. All right, I'll do it without rest. I think it's one of the best circuits on the training. For sure, for sure. Ready? This is the hellacious one. Here's the hellacious one. We'll go. You want straight leg or bent? All right, whatever. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sawyer challenges me. Like I haven't been doing this since I was 15. Usually I go 30 on, 30 off. Whew. All right, so shoulders that get me. Actually, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 20. Suck it. Ooh. 17, 19, 20. That's fine. Sawyer made an audible. Thanks, bro. You're my inspiration. I lost track now. I don't know what number I'm on. Hope the audio. Okay, I had to make sure the audio was working. I don't want to lose everything that I've been doing. All right, so I did hand, hand, elbow, elbow. I'll do my front and back, prone and supine. Prone means lying down. If you ever play Call of Duty, I think a prone block, where they don't let you lie down. That's how I always remember it weirdly. And now I'm gonna do the side. So it's bottom leg, elbow. This one I actually really need for my adductor. 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, 18, 20. General stuff, man, I'm telling you. This is the stuff that makes a difference. This is actually the stuff that gets you better. Not really, but kind of. 10, 11. Whew. This one hurts. I have to do it like this. That wrist. Nah, it's cheating. I don't like that. Just put the arm out further. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. Whew. Fucking burns, man. Fucked up. All right, there's one more. This was probably the second hardest one. It's on the elbow abduction. So you're like this. Just go up and down for 20 reps. 3, 4, 6, 10, 15, 18, 20. Whew, that one's hard. All right, on the hand. Now I'm really fatigued. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, 14, 15, 17. Now I'm at failure. 19, 20. That one sucks. Since I balanced on that leg, now I gotta lift this leg. I'm even more fatigued. 5, 6, 10. Oh God. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Whew. That sucked so bad. That's hard. All right, guys, that was really not fun at all to do, but I stuck with it. I tried to talk to you guys as much as possible, but it was so uncomfortable. There were so many people watching me film. I felt like the manager was watching. There was like tons of people that just felt like eyes on you, you know? I don't know if you guys ever felt that before, but it was not good eyes. Like there's times where people watch you and you feel good about it, and then there's times when people watch you and you realize like this is like they're judging the shit out of me, and it was definitely the latter. I felt like very judged, but that's okay. I'm gonna view it as like a exposure therapy, you know? Like if I can film in this environment, I can film anywhere, and just try to keep work, and hopefully I don't get yelled at by the gym manager. So I ended up doing, I think I'm gonna go to a coffee shop and work and edit this for you guys. But I ended up doing, what did I end up doing? I did the 2 circuits, the 2 kettlebell circuits, and then I did quasi iso. I actually felt really good. My left wrist is messed up from benching. I don't know why, but I gotta find a way to do side planks and stuff without it bothering me. There's a lot of like high schoolers and college kids in there and stuff, which I like lifting here sometimes, but like these guys they're waving. So I like doing that sometimes, but not all the time. Like going in there with like some energy. Today, I did not really feel that. It felt very different. And it's a general day, so you're not really like there's nothing impressive you're doing at all. And people are like, what the hell? Like, why are you filming these random ass general exercises? I'm like, well, watch my YouTube. But it was productive. I actually felt the quasi-ISO was hard as hell. Salt Yard challenged me. He was like, oh, come on, bro, you could do that. And I was like, I don't really want to do that, but I will. I'll do it because I've been doing it. So I did 20 reps each one. For time is hard, but like you can kind of pause for a second and you waste time, whereas reps, you got to get the reps in. And I like both. I think time is probably a little bit harder, especially for some of those like reverse plank ones, because you can kind of rush and get through them. I think the intensity is a little higher when you go for reps because you're incentivized to go a little faster. But I'll try to up the volume of that next week. I just kept it to 3 circuits because I was going to do 2 sets of each one, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, technically I am doing 10, like 5 different exercises, but I'm doing them 10 each side because I did it unilaterally. So I was like, that is kind of like twice as much volume, whereas before I would have just done double arm, and done, let's say, bent over row, pull up, upright row, right? That's a total of 30 reps of pulling, where if you do unilateral and you do, whatever, the same amount, you're getting what is essentially twice as much volume. You're doing 20 reps versus 10 reps. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just do that and cut it because it is unilateral. It's a lot more reps. And decided to do the pressing with the kettlebell as well and the lower body. For the pressing, I did the overhead, I think it was single arm press. I did like a push-up variation, a dip variation. I also ended up doing curls in there with the kettlebell, which was fun. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I did that. And then I did the quasi-ISO circuit. So it was generally a pretty, I'd say like a 6 or 7 out of 10. When I used to do these circuits back in the day, they were like a 10 out of 10 because I would add running in, I would do a full warm-up. They were really, really hard days. If I were a track and field athlete, I probably would do that, but since I'm dunking and I only need 4 steps, not as much of a concern. If I were even when I was a high jumper, I used to do a lot of that stuff. I probably overdid it in some ways with volume, which I think is fine if you back off, which I did only because I sprained my ankle. But yeah, so I think it was a good session. I'm probably gonna go home, rest up, try to get some good nutrition in my system. This woman is taking a picture of my car. That's really funny. Yeah, get some protein in, try to eat some vegetables today. I've been eating really poorly because I've been working a lot and haven't been prioritizing that, but today I'll try to do that. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So talk to you guys tomorrow. Hope this was productive for you guys. As always, if you are interested in coaching and you want to see me apply this in your individual training, or want me to write your individualized training based on your strengths and weaknesses, you can go to the website, look at the service, consider signing up. I'd really like the community to grow. I think that's a big priority of mine. A big reason why we dropped the price, and I've said this before, was so you could stay on the service. So I would do it ASAP instead of waiting if I were you. And yeah, take advantage of it, leverage it. Austin, Isaiah, and I are working really hard to make sure that you guys are taken care of. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is a hard day, a lift day. Won't be that hard, but it'll be hard-ish. See you guys.